What's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of No Cap Podcast with my brothers
T
and D.
and we're here to talk about the effects of the government shutdown in America. We're going to let you know what's going on and how you can prepare for it. Check us out. So, with that being said, the prices of food is definitely going to go up. They talking about the no EBT, no food stamps beginning in November, and that's right around the corner. And so a lot of people will be affected by that. Some people think it's real. Some people think it's fake. What are y'all thinking on that? Is that?
Yeah, most definitely, it's going to be a big effect. I feel like it's really going to happen in November what? November 1st. So you're going to start seeing a lot of grocery stores start not having so many people in there for one. And people going to start stealing things. And if I see somebody stealing something due to the situation, I'm probably just going to go ahead and let them steal it. I'm not even going to trip on it because the way
they got families to take care of.
Yeah, they got their family to take care of. Shoot, I got my family to take care of. So
you selling?
Everybody most definitely going to have to survive.
Yeah. What do you think is the solution to currently what's going on with the inflation and everything? Like, what do you think could help everybody out?
Money. But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's just, I don't know what needs to happen, but something needs to happen where, the politicians don't get money and, the gap can fill back up again, because what's happening right now, there's a gap and it's just getting wider and wider. And so, whoever's in power, they don't need to have all the power. The people need to take their power back.
Yeah, I believe that's true. You can, because I got my mic. I believe, kind of, I was talking about it last night, it's going to be to the point where the haves and the have-nots, and it's kind of prevalent in some of the movies we've seen, like back in the day, Elysium. Y'all remember that movie? Where they had the super rich people that lived in the satellite and all the poor people was on the earth, and it was just savage, and it was just, but it gets to the point where they basically erasing the middle class, and it'll just be the people that are super rich and the people that are super poor. And so the biggest thing is with everything going on, especially in America right now, what are y'all doing to prepare for it? I see some videos of people then stockpile of food and, trying to get, perishable items so they can survive. Also, I got people up there getting med kits. And so it's kind of like, it sounds like the apocalypse or it's like the end of the world, but definitely know each and every day is a blessing to be living. We're going to continue to survive. But this is really going on. And November 1st is going to be the first day with no SNAP, no EBT. And it's a lot of people, not just people that don't have money, but, senior citizens and everything like that, that's going to be dependent on EBT. So, definitely want to know how y'all prepare for it. And, if y'all have some advice, let us know. But what do y'all got to say on as far as like,
it's just an unfortunate situation as far as everything goes. The EBT, a lot of assistance programs are, becoming obsolete. People are, mandatory to come into work and they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
And then we got this, this joker in presidency that's, convicted of multiple things. And, he's building a ballroom, and that thing is about $300 million.
Yeah.
So where's all this money going,
That is true. I did see an article on that about building a ballroom, which they said he's not the first president. It's been several presidents in the past, but it's never been to this extent. And it's never been to where the people are in a dire situation with not having food, not having money or whatever. And so with that being said, all this money they're allocating to build this ballroom or grand ballroom, and then also money that they're giving to other countries. What about the people here? So we want to know, what is your thoughts on that? Do we have money, or is it just an illusion that we do have money and we're really in destitute, right? We haven't really got it, So what do y'all think on that?
So I think that, America is broke. I don't think we have any money.
Yeah.
I think it's a front.
Just a front to make sure.
It's a front that, makes everybody's sanity look okay, or, people are feeling okay.
Like we still got it.
Like we still got it, so people won't go crazy. But actually, our country is broke.
Yeah.
And so there's things that are happening behind the scenes that people don't know. And I think people need to be prepared for whatever happens, because it's at a tipping point. And we just need to be prepared.
All right. What do you guys say about that, D?
So to all that, I would say, me, myself, I know me with the fam, we're definitely going to try to take precaution as in stocking up on food and, because it's going to be like the Wild Wild West, I believe.
Yeah.
It's going to get real crazy real quick. you're gonna start seeing people like maybe just rob you, coming out of the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. No, facts. I mean, it's facts.
I feel that way. Yeah, just to get your groceries and everything.
Yeah, it might be you.
Yeah. But yeah, the ballroom, it is crazy that he is putting so much money into that. But, I feel like that money can go towards other things besides that. I don't think that's like a dire need.
Right now.
Yeah, it needs to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like everything else he needs to take care of first. That can be on the back burner if that's truthfully what he wants to do. But he didn't need to shut down the government for that.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that he didn't get any permission to demolish the east wing of the White House. He just did it. He just did it.
Do you think he's got some type of dictatorship complex?
I feel like he got some type of dictator complex because he wants to be remembered. And so I don't know any other president since Ronald Reagan that has done something as significant as this. And so, Trump that's what he's doing right now. People are going to remember him in history because of what he's done. Not the good things he's done, but the bad things he's done. But anyway, he's going to be remembered regardless. And so that's his thing. He wants to be remembered.
And I think one thing you kind of touched on is earlier today, you was talking about the power of the people. And I think that's the biggest thing is we do have the power because, again, these dictators, these rulers can't really rule if we come together and decide like, no, that's not going to work for us. But we have to get to the point where enough is enough. And we got to stand up. We got to connect and actually unite and basically stand for what we stand for. Because if not, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. And so I'm not saying just to go and rebel like January 6th and go into the White House, but it needs to be a point to where we as massive collective of people, we have the power in our community. And we can't just leave it up to these people that don't really know what we're doing because they're so much high level as far as, influence and income that they can't relate to what we're currently going through as average American human beings in the state. And so what would you say on that, D?
Yeah, you would think most definitely whenever it was No King's Day, I would say about a couple of weeks ago, that sent the big message to the people that's in higher power. But it felt like it didn't. It felt like it didn't change anything. It didn't change the narrative or anything. They just keep on doing what they're doing, like if that was just a regular day. For that many people, if anybody looks, like on their social media and look at No King's Day, for that many people all across the world, not just the United States, we'll see how many people was, boycotting against that is crazy. There's no other president that I know of that, had that many people
go against them. Administration.
And their administration, you would think that they would kick him out of office or impeach him or something, but they haven't done anything. They're just keeping him like he's almighty. And
what do you think that is? You think he has some type of control to prevent people from impeaching him, or what do y'all think on that?
I don't think he has any type of control to, I think he's manipulating a lot of people to believing in certain things that he wants them to see from his point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Huh? You out of the camera.
I believe that's true, and I just believe there's a bunch of followers. I think people want to. I wouldn't say followers, but I think people want to. That's a strong word, but I just think people want to believe in something, and so they gravitate towards somebody that has the answers. And unfortunately, those answers can be wrong or right. But if they're wrong, they're still going to follow because they want to believe in something. And so it makes them feel a certain way about life and about, the generations after. And so unfortunately, that's what it is. And I think, it just unfortunate because people need to wake up. People need to realize that the power isn't within them instead of looking towards somebody for power. We have the power in us. And, no matter what we do, if it's wrong or right, it's still right, and so we have the power in us. We have the control. And we always had it.
And to that being said, there's nothing wrong about following somebody. I mean, you can follow somebody, but it's just as long as to follow somebody that has good intentions what every movement that they do, not just following them because of
it's popular.
Yeah, it's popular. Yeah,
everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, and everybody else is doing it. So that's what I say to all that.
Okay. And what about since everything's going so fast? What about the version? Because I talked about it before, but the AI technology is moving very, very fast. Do y'all think that's something that's really beneficial, or that's going to be to the point where it's going to be a detrimental? Because the talk last night was about not using our creativity, and we so dependent on it that we can't even, kind of like the example back in the day, you can remember everybody's phone number, but since we got everything on our phones, that you can't really remember the main numbers that you used to remember because of technology. Do you think it'll be to the point to where we're so reliant on AI that we don't use our brains to think of stuff because it's all embedded in AI, and we lose our creativity as a people? What do you think?
So I think, there's a lot of truth to that. I think that, people are getting dependent on technology, and by us not utilizing our brain power, using our biggest muscle in our body, which is our brain, that, we our brain power started to become obsolete, and then we won't think for ourselves, and then what happens is it start creating anxiety and a lot of different things because we're in flight or flight mode because we're so reliant on something that's always going to be there
to give us answers.
Instead of us having critical thinking, we rely on something that gives us critical thinking without even thinking.
Yeah, right.
And so, I mean, I feel there's a pro to it, but we don't need to utilize it for everything.
Exactly.
And I think that it needs to be dialed back some for our sake, for the for mankind's sake.
Yeah.
Exactly. With that being said, I feel that same way that, there's a lot of pros to it and we can use it. But I feel like there's a lot of things we don't need to use it for, because it is, we're not relying on ourselves or our way we think to do certain tasks and everything. We're always relying on the technology to do it for us.
Yeah. So yeah, it comes to that fine line. Like I said, it's good to have the technology, you can use it, but like my brother said, Terrell, limit the use, because again, we have a lot of things. We are creative beings, and if we don't use the creativity to do what we need to do to get to that next level or elevate ourselves, then we basically walking zombies or drones, and we were relying on this AI to give us everything that we need to fulfill ourselves, and that's not necessarily true. So there's that fine line where it is good, but then again, also in the hands of the wrong people, it can be really bad. Another thing I kind of looked at with some videos, which I've seen now, they've been talking about the AI videos from back like 3 or 4 years ago. You could tell it was AI, but now it's at a point you can't really tell unless you really, really look at it. And so they're saying to a point to where some of the stuff you look at that might not be real seems real, and some of the stuff that wasn't real might seem real as well from back in the day. And so it kind of gives you a skewed view of things because you're kind of double checking and saying, is this really real or is this fake? And it's hard to tell if you really don't know. So what do you guys think about AI? Do y'all think that's something that's going to bring the downfall of humanity? Or is that something that's going to elevate it to the next level? Or are you kind of in the middle? Or are you really not sure? We want to know what your feedback is. Any other things in regards to AI and the technology that's going so fast right now?
I mean, it's going so fast that, you can't even think of the next move. It already done it.
Yeah.
So it's at a point where it's getting unreal, And so I just think I don't think there's time to dial it back, but I sure wish there is a way that we can slow it down some, because it's taking out a lot of human essence.
That's true.
And our creativity, that's a part of human beings, is coming up with things.
Yeah,
and critical thinking that only humans can do, because there's a lot of spirituality in us. There's and so yeah.
And what do you think in regards to, what do you got? You got anything else you got to say on that? What do y'all think about the, now there's more awareness of mental health in regards to men and women across the nation. But back in the day, that was something that was kind of taboo. And so with that being said, more awareness of it, do y'all think there's a spike of mental health, a spike of people having more mental issues? Or do you think that is something that's now people have just been having it, but we're more aware of it and it's more acceptable now? What is your thoughts on that?
I believe that there's always been, some type of mental crisis, not as much as now, but there always have been. It just became more rampant within the last 15 to 10 years ago. because of everything. We're too stressed. As a society, we're too stressed. We're overworked, overstimulated, and things are moving way too fast for us to comprehend. And for that, it makes our psyche kind of freak out. It goes wonky because it's not only going too fast, and then we're trying to keep up with this. We actually trying to act like a damn computer, and because a computer can process it within a couple of seconds, and we're trying to actually be like a computer. That's what's happening. We're trying to think way too fast for us to comprehend, and it's not meant for us to think that fast. And that's where our soul is, because a soul doesn't do that. Our essence don't move as fast. And so that's where art comes from and stuff like that. But I just think there's a spike of mental health right now because of the pressures of not having things and things
that have nots,
and things are moving way too fast for us to comprehend.
Do you think? I think another thing too, I can kind of relate to it too, is when you go on social media and you see, I'm 19 years old, for example. I'm 19. I'm a millionaire, and you keep scrolling through. Well, look at me. I can do it too. Do you think that has added more pressure to?
There's a tremendous amount of pressure because of social media, and say I've done it, so you can too. And that's all these things that say, hey, I got this and you don't. I got this, or you don't. They may not say they have it, or they may not rub it in your face like I have it, but you get the impression. And I just think it's not okay. I just think, everybody has their time, and it's a very American thought to think that you're supposed to have it at a specific time, and that's not true, because you can have it at any time.
That's true.
It all depends on you.
What do you got to say about that, D?
Yeah, I feel like the same with everything going on in social media. I feel like it is being, pushed on you to get you to that next level. Like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And it kind of makes you feel like more stressed out
because you don't have it.
Yeah, because you don't have it, and you're trying to figure out how to get it like that person, or those things that you're showing you. And I feel like it can be a good thing and a bad thing. I feel like from social media, you should be only taking a little from each segment of what you're watching, or what they're doing and everything, and try to make it into your own, instead of I can do 100% what they're doing, knowing that is all majority of it is false of what they're trying to show you. Because if it was that easy, and then everybody will be millionaires. So I feel like you should be able to take bits and pieces of what each person trying to show you, and try to utilize it to your own way to make your fortune.
And the thing is, everybody has their own journey. So somebody's journey is not your own journey. You can't follow in their footsteps. I mean, you can make a template. There's a template. You can follow it somewhat, but not entirely, because that's not yours.
Yeah.
That's not yours to have. That's theirs. That's theirs to have. And so you can follow somewhat of their footprints, but you got to feel it in yourself. That's the thing. You got to feel it in yourself.
And I think another thing too is that all we see is the diamonds. We don't see the behind the scenes. We don't know. You don't see the grind and all that stuff. And I feel like a lot of that stuff is kind of overrated too. Just grinding. I just think that's kind of ridiculous, because
due to the technology,
because of how tough everything is. You shouldn't
have to grind.
We shouldn't have to grind like that at all. Like, not as what it shouldn't be this hard at all. Yeah. And so it's just kind of unrealistic. Like, you got to grind, and that's not. Yeah, you can grind all day long. If you don't grind smart, you're not going nowhere.
Right, especially with the technology we have. I feel like you shouldn't have to grind as much. I mean, with everything that we got, it should be easier to make your money than what it was
10,
before.
20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, because we're doing exactly what our families and ancestors was doing back in the day, is grinding, and we're still not really moving into that light we're trying to go towards that direction we're trying to lean to.
Do you think there's, with everything that's going on in America, do you think there's, which you've probably seen, is there increase of people leaving the United States, going to other countries like Thailand, or going to different parts of the world?
Yeah.
I feel like there's people that going to other countries, but people that have money You know, it's an impression that I mean, I believe that everybody had the money. A lot of people, probably 90% of people, probably 95% will leave America because it's crazy.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate truth is a lot of people don't have the money. And it's like 5% of people moving overseas are they're in a position where they can, you know, they might be in the military, they might be single, they might be both single in the military. You're able to do that. And then they put it on social media like you're not doing nothing. But you're over here, you got a family, you can't just get up and leave.
Do you think from the videos you've seen from other people that basically go influencers that go to other countries like Thailand, Japan, and, you know, all over the world, Europe, maybe Asia, South Africa, South America, do you think that particular life is better than what we're currently facing right now?
I mean, I think there's pros and cons to every country. And the thing is, what they don't say is that that's from their perspective. Every country has their own pros and cons, just like America does. And so you may go over there and think like, oh, this is the sweet life, and come to find out it's not going to be the sweet life because it's very similar to America, but it's just different in a way. It's probably not as intense, but they got their other stipulations as well. And so I think if you just really think about it, that the whole world is going through something. And it's about the human mankind fight, you know, of, you know, evil and good. And, you know, evil is like controlling a lot of things right now. And so that's a big thing. Evil is controlling a lot of things. You can feel it. I mean, you don't have to say anything. Yeah. People feel it. It's an unspoken thing that people feel every day. Yeah. The only thing is you got to walk out on faith, and people got to move. This world need to start walking on faith and stop being controlled by people of power and fear, because that's what's controlling this world. And people that are in power, they know they can utilize this fear. They control what they have. They know people are pawns, are sheep, and they master that. They're over that. They're above that. And so they can make people follow them. And so if you start walking out on faith and doing your own thing, you don't have to be a follower. You can control your own thing. You can have followers yourself if you wanted to. But you know, people shouldn't be that evil to do that.
Yeah. And like they said, from childhood, they were basically indoctrinating you to be a worker. They were never meant for you. Of course, videos you see, they never meant for you to be an entrepreneur or be somebody that's a business owner, or be somebody that aspire to be more than just a worker for somebody else. And so they said ever since you've been a kid and throughout the system, and you can give me your input on that and what y'all think, is the educational system, is it flawed? Is it something that really think as this day and time is going to propel the youth generation to the next level? Or is it more of this one-on-one creativity and using what people have, because everybody has a gift, and using that to grow and build something organically versus like, I need to go to school, this, okay, quote, American dream, go to school, go to college, get in debt, and then possibly get a job at a good corporation. And then, you know, a lot of companies now, they did away with pension, so it's no pension plan, but get a good job. And what's a good job? That's defined by that person. So it could be a job making over $100,000. And even then, with this day and time in this economy, that's still a struggle for a lot of people right now. So again, do you think the traditional way of the American dream, is that something that's real, or something that suffices, or is that something that's just been a big lie to us to get us to go to a certain area, go to a certain direction? Let me know what y'all thoughts on that. What do you got?
I mean, I think the American dream is not a lie. I believe it's true, because in a lot of countries, you're not able to do that. That's why you will see, maybe, you know, I will bring up like elite athletes from Africa. That's why you see a lot of Africans or Nigerians, or whatever part of Africa they are. That's why they go to other countries to get endorsement deals. They don't stay in Africa because they're limited in Africa. And so there's a cap to, you know, countries. And so in America, you're able to come here dirt poor, and you can become whatever you want it to be. And that's real talk. It may not seem like you can, but you can, because a lot of countries won't allow you to. You're born into a you're born into a class. You're born into a class, you know, a middle income, low income, and you never can get, you know, above that. You're just that. If you're born into a rich family, you're going to be rich. and there's a cap to it. You can't do no more. And so in America, you can go from every level. And that's the pro about America. You can be going from being rich to poor to rich. And that's the American dream right there. You know, it's like, they say you got to be asleep to, have the American dream. And that's not true. You can do whatever you want in America. It just determines on how hard of a worker you are and how hungry you are, because you can go through all the damn levels. And that's real talk.
Yeah. What do you got to say about that, D?
He's right. I mean, I don't have too much to say on that.
Okay. Well, we didn't want to take too much of your time. Again, this is just the first video of many of the No Cap podcast with my brothers. I got T, I got D, and my name is Lex. And we're here to keep it real with y'all and talk about current events that's currently going on. And we want your feedback. What do you think about this? Some of the subjects we talked about. How do you relate to it? Do you think about the, current, no EBT, no food stamps in November? How do you think that's going to affect you and everybody else around you? Also, you think about this government shutdown. What does that play in your life right now? And what can we do as a people to come together and elevate and get out of this stuff? All right. So definitely comment below, and you're going to see many more videos. Until next time, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.